Welcome to the Inner Whisper, your sacred pause to return to yourself. Is Vani. Thank you for being here once again. This week we have been exploring something a lot of us experience in our relationships, especially with family dynamics. If this is the first whisper you're listening to, I invite you to go back and listen to the two previous ones. Together, they trace a journey about recognizing what gets activated inside us and how we can begin to transform it. And if these reflections resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Inner Light Path, so you don't miss future whispers. So, in the previous episodes, we talk about those moments when we get triggered. That instant when we feel the urge to react, defend ourselves, or say something back. We also talk about the small space we can create between what we feel and how we respond. And today, I want to explore what happens when we begin to practice that space. Because little by little, something inside us starts to change. Not necessarily the people around us, nor the situations. What changes is the way we are inside those moments. In my work, I call that moment transformation. Not because everything becomes perfect, but because we begin responding from a more conscious version of ourselves. When we first start working with our shadows, we often think the goal is for the situation to change or that the other person stops saying certain comments. But many times the situation doesn't change. What changes is the way we react. And that's something I noticed during my recent visit with my family. Like I said before, after that moment in the garage, when I reacted from a wounded place, something in me started seeing the situation more clearly. In the days that followed, my father made comments that in the past would have triggered me immediately. But this time it was different. Not because I was suppressing what I felt, but because something in me was no longer taking it personally. I simply thought, well, that's who he is. I know his intention is not to hurt me. And maybe that's simply the way he sees the world. So I heard the comment and I let it pass. And that moment reminded me of something important. Healing doesn't always mean that your environment changes. Often it means we stop reacting the same way. So a natural question arises. When something inside us begins to change, how do we sustain that transformation? And here are three simple pathways that can help. The first path, stop taking it personally. When something begins transforming inside us, we start seeing things differently. Most people speak from their own story, their wounds, or the way they learned to see the world. When we recognize that, something shifts. The comment may still be there, but it no longer carries the same weight. The second path, allow the moment to pass. Another thing that changes in our relationship with emotions. Before, we might have felt we had to respond immediately, defend ourselves, explain, correct. But transformation teaches us something different. We learn to feel the emotion without acting on it right away. Maybe You notice tension in your body or you feel the urge to respond. But instead, you breathe and allow the moment to pass. And at that moment, you will realize that not everything we feel needs to become a reaction. And the third path, respond from who you are now. When that space appears, something powerful becomes possible. Choice. We're no longer reacting automatically from the wound or from impulse. Instead, we can ask ourselves a simple question: from which version of myself do I want to respond right now? Maybe before we would have reacted with anger and defensiveness. But when we remember who we are choosing to become, maybe a more conscious, grounded version of ourselves, the response changes. You could respond calmly or don't say anything. Simply listen and let the comment pass. Transformation begins to show itself when we stop responding from the past and start responding from the person we are becoming. And I would like to invite you now to take 3 breaths of light to connect with our bodies. In the first breath, imagine stepping into a quiet space with yourself, a place where you can observe without reacting, and inhale slowly. And breathe out, feeling your body settling into calmness. Inhale again a little deeper and imagine a moment when someone says something that used to trigger you, but this time you're observing the moment with more inner space. And exhale slowly and notice how your body can remain calm. Inhale once more, imagining responding from the version of yourself you are becoming, maybe with calm, with silence. And release slowly and feel how that response comes from a deeper place within you. Stay there for a few moments. Transformation rarely appears in dramatic moments. More often, it shows up in small ones, in the pause before responding, in hearing a comment without feeling pierced by it in the same way. The situations may still be the same. The people probably will still be who they are, but something inside you no longer responds the same way. And like the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh once said, when we are aware of our emotions, we're no longer prisoners of them. And I leave you with these words. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you like this whisper, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, The Inner Light Path, so you can continue walking this path with me. Give this episode a thumbs up if it brought you something today, and share it with someone who may also be exploring their own process of transformation. I will also love to hear from you. In what moments of your life have you noticed that you no longer react the way you used to? You can also read my reflections on Substack at theinnerlightpath.substack.com. Until next time, love deeply, shine brightly, and embrace your journey. Ciao.